Hey guys, it's Red Lightning and welcome back to episode 4 of Life. So we just get started. Today's song of the week is Alone by Hallin. I don't know how to say it. I want to sing the song, but then I remember watching this video where someone sang a song and then they got demonetized. So I guess I could sing like a small part of it. Don't leave me alone. It's kind of hard to sing because I forgot how it goes. But we'll just talk about what's the song about. Here's words by her. I got together with Toby Mac, my producer Brian Fowler, and True, the rapper who's in the song. And we wrote the song. We know we got our perspective for the song through situations we had been going through in our lives. I desperate heart cry to the Lord, saying, God, I don't want you to leave me here alone in this same mess that I find myself in time again and again. Please intervene like you promised me and come rescue me from that. I think as humans we feel like the Lord is going to leave us because we don't understand how great His love is for us. We all felt the same way, and we wrote the song from that perspective. See? Now let's move on to the verse of the week. Today's verse of the week is from Psalms 23:6. Your goodness and mercy will be with me all my life, and I will live in the Lord's house a long time. Psalms 23:6. Now let's see what's that mean. It's from David expresses his convention in this verse that Lord's goodness will be with him throughout his life, with the green pastures and still waters lay ahead, or David will require to walk through the valley of shadows of death. The Lord's goodness will accompany him. Over the years of his long life, David had found that God is good all the time. Further, the Lord's unfailing love would be present with him every step of the life's journey. Paul encourages us in Romans 8:38 through 39 to count on God's love in all of life's circumstances. Nothing can separate us from His unfailing love. We can use trials to make us more aware. God's love is so that we grow, rather than become bitter. David advocated, that at the end of his life he would enter heaven, the house of the Lord, and live there forever. Having the Lord as our shepherd makes life worthwhile and blessed. And when our journey on earth ends, we will enter heaven to live with our shepherd forever. John 13:14-3. Revelation 7:16 through 17 promises that in heaven believers will never hunger or thirst or suffer again, for the Lamb in the midst of the throne will be their shepherd, and he will guide them to the springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. I hope you got something from that rest of the week. Now let's move on to our final section, a childhood think about creationality that you can bring into your own life. But today we're doing another Veggie Tales. Today we are gonna be talking about Rack, Shack, and Benny. Okay, we'll start up. Countertop intro. On the countertop, Bob is alone while greeting the kids when he notices that Larry is absent. Larry calls out that he's coming from off screen, and Larry ends up crashing into some stuff. Oh, sorry, I didn't go to good sleep last night. Oh. When he finally rises, it turns out that the reason for this is because he has an oversized oven mitt over his head. which he criticizes for his new hat. When Bob expresses concern that Larry cannot see anything from wearing the oven mitt, Larry retorts that, according to Veggie Beat magazines, all the cool people wear oven mitts on their heads. Bob then remembers that they got a letter from a kid by the name of Dexter Willington, who hails from Tucson, Alabama, who explains that Dexter is visiting his friend Billy. Billy wants to watch a TV show that Dexter is not supposed to watch. Dexter knows it is a bad show, but Billy tells him if he doesn't watch it, it means he's not cool. So he wants to know what should he do. Larry then decides to consult Quilby about this problem, but unfortunately, because the oven mitt is completely obscure his vision, he ends up falling into the kitchen sink. Bob then tells Dexter that while he's trying to get Larry out of the sink, we should watch a story about 3 boys named Rack, Shack, and Benny who face this same dilemma. Act 1. We are introduced to the narrator of the story, an onion named George, who serves as gatekeeper to the Netzer Chocolate Factory. George explains that the real names of Rack, Shack, and Benny are Shake Shack, Meshach, and I can't really say those, but everyone else calls them by their nicknames. They couldn't remember the 3 boys' real names. George then explains that every morning at the chocolate factory, everyone works hard to make sure that everything is going smoothly before noticing that it's almost 8 o'clock, which means that it's time for the morning milk delivery. Laura then approaches to the front gate. In her speaking to Ryu, explains George in song. Oh, I remember the song. Good morning, George. How are you? I hope you're feeling fine. I would like to stay and talk, but it's almost 8 o'clock, and I never have the time. In song that she loves to stay and talk, but she doesn't have the time because everyone works really hard at the chocolate factory. After Laura arrives at the factory, she meets up with Mr. Lunch, who tells her true song that she's in trouble because she's 2 minutes late before he orders the other employees, which are played by multiple P's, to get back to work. We are then introduced to Rack, Shack, and Benny, played by respectively by Bob the Tomato, Junior Asparagus, and Larry the Cucumber, who also explain through song that they don't have time to play because they have a lot of work to do in the factory. Employees of the factory are hard at work, making sure that all the chocolate bunnies are made, as well as disposing of any bunnies that have been made wrong. Soon the song ends as Laura takes off in the delivery truck to deliver the chocolate bunnies. As the lone chocolate bunny falls out, the back of the truck lands in front of George. George then explains that every day they make 4,686 chocolate bunnies, give or take a few, before explaining that Nebi K. Netzer, the boss of the chocolate factory, isn't exactly a bad man. He just gets confused real easily. George then demonstrates this by stating that is all happens when Mr. Netzer made a big announcement. Back inside the factory, workers are still hard at work when a video screen appears before Mr. Netzer appears on the screen, announcing that this morning they have shipped their 2 millionth chocolate bunny and decided to reward everyone by allowing them to eat as many chocolate bunnies as they want for the next 30 minutes. After this announcement is made, Mr. Long compliments Mr. Netzer for allowing everyone to eat the bunnies, while Mr. Netzer is confident that everyone will give their praise for him for this announcement, while the rest of the employees are they ravenously eat as many bunnies as they like. Shaq is a little bit uncertain about this decision, telling Rack and Benny that they shouldn't eat any more bunnies because it's not good to eat too much candy in one sitting. When Rack and Benny argue about this, stating that everyone else is doing it, Shaq retorts back that they should remember that what their parents taught them, as well as remembering a song that his mother used to sing to him. Oh no, I forgot the song. I remember listening to it at night, or when I watched it, so I forgot the song, how it goes. Sing to him back when he was really little. After Shaq sings a little bit of the song, he then tells Rack and Benny that even though their parents aren't with them, they can still remember everything that they learned from this. This finally convinces Rack and Benny not to eat any more bunnies. Sorry, my throat is dry. As time passes, the other employees are still eating chocolate bunnies. After a while, they began to feel rather sick from doing so. Oh, sorry, it glitches. At the end of 30 minutes, free for all, Mr. Nezzer and Mr. Lunt then head into the workroom before noticing that everyone became sick as dogs as a result from eating too much chocolate bunnies. Mr. Nezzer is angered by this before Mr. Lunt notices that Rack, Shaq, and Benny are the only ones who are still standing up. When Mr. Nezzer and Mr. Lunt approach the Grey Boys, he is impressed by their resilience before telling them that he is going to promote them to junior exclusions. I forgot the word. Which is, according to Mr. Lunt, means that you have to wear a tie when Benny asks what it means. After Nezu tells Rack, Shaq, and Benny to meet him in his office first thing in the morning, George then shows up stating that Rack, Shaq, and Benny are able to get on Mr. Nezu's good side, before adding that the Grey Boys are in a big surprise when they come into the Nezu's office. Sorry, I'm very tired. The next morning, Rack, Shaq, and Benny are greeted by Mr. Nezzer, who then explains that he will have every one of his faithful employees bow down to a chocolate bunny before showing them a model of the statue. To which he says the real thing is 90 feet tall. Mr. Nezzer then explains further that it will be a beautiful day when everyone bows down to the statue and sings the song. That's the bunny song. The bunny, oh, I love the bunny. That's all I can remember. I forgot the rest. Which Benny says that he's not familiar with it and asks Mr. Nezzer to hum a few bars. Mr. Nezzer replies and starts singing the bunny song, talking about how much he loves the bunny and anything else. Song ends. Rack, Shaq, and Benny are a bit troubled by the lyrics, with Rack asking what would happen if anyone doesn't sing the song. Mr. Nezzer answers that question by showing the Grey Boys the furnace where the bad bunnies that get mixed up in the production cycle are sent to be destroyed. Before he says in a rather imitating matter, let's just say in my mind, if you don't bow down and sing the song, you're a bad bunny. Mr. Nezzer helps off before telling Rack, Shaq, and Benny that the ceremony is starting. George then shows up and states that the boys were in a real pickle. With this, the bunny song was full of all kinds of stuff that the Grey Boys knew was wrong. By refusing to sing it will resolve Mr. Nezzer drawing them into the furnace. He then asked the viewers what they would do if they were them, but decided to hold on that thought as the ceremony is about to begin. That afternoon, when everyone is gathered outside, Mr. Nezzer, why does he keep saying Nezzer, then announces that it is now time to bow to the bunny and sing the bunny song. While everyone bows down, Rakshak and Benny are the only ones who do not bow. Oh man, I'm tired. Do not bow before Nezu and Mr. Lund approached them, with Mr. Nezu telling them to sing. In response, Shaq instead starts singing the lullaby that his mother used to sing to him before Rack and Benny also join in as well. After the trio finished singing, Mr. Nezu is touched by hearing the song and says he'll be singing the song as he throws them into the furnace before calling out the guards to take them to the fiery furnace. The three carrot guards then approach the trio, while Laura states that she has to help them before noticing Mr. Nezu's delivery truck. And then they have a little break of a silly song with Larry, where it's the dance of the cucumber. It's where Larry just sings in Spanish while Bob interpret. I forgot the word. I'm very tired. And it's like a pretty silly song, and I forgot how it goes. Oops. Okay, now Act 2. Oh, so tired. Oh, okay. Mr. Nezu has now tied up Rakshak and Benny before he explains that he tried being patient and kind with the Greek boys, and he is infuriated by their stubbornness. When Mr. Nezu asked the Greek boys if they will sing the song, they then explain to him that God wants us to stand up for what they believe is right, and that they cannot sing the song. At first, it seemed that Mr. Nezu understands before saying that they're bad bunnies before they end up getting pushed down towards the fiery furnace. But Laura saves them in the delivery truck. Mr. Nezu then has two carrot guards chase after them after the court into a vent, but one of the guards runs into a wall and falls into the vat of chocolate. The chase continues through the vents, which leads to the other carrot guard falling into the vat of chocolate as well. Once the guard has been dispatched, Laura then pilots the truck through the vents again, and when they see there is light on the left vent, they turn left, believing it's the way out. Unfortunately, that vent brings them back to where they started. Mr. Nezu then has Mr. Lund take control, to which a pair of mechanical hands take hold of the truck and starts to tilt it downwards in an attempt to dump Rakshak and Benny into the fiery furnace. Down below her, however, Laura is able to escape before unplugging the controls just as the truck is now halfway tilted. Laura angrily proclaims that nobody breaks her buddies, as Mr. Nezu berates and threatens Laura. The latch bolt from the gate of the truck then comes loose, which causes Rakshak and Benny to fall into the fiery furnace. Mr. Nezu then laughs at his victory, stating that no one will ever stand up to him again. However, the room is suddenly turned dark before multiple lights shoot out from the window of the furnace. Mr. Lund peers into one of the windows as he asks how many guys they threw into the furnace. Mr. Nezu incredulously answers that they were 3 before Mr. Lund states that there are 4 guys there now, making note that one of them is real shiny, as well as the fact that they aren't burning up. Mr. Nezu calls out to the Great Boys to get out of there. Before the fiery furnace gate open up, Rakshak and Benny come out alive and well. When Mr. Nezu sees that the Great Boys were saved by God's power. He then admits that he was wrong for trying to get them to do stuff they weren't supposed to do, stating that he forgot everything his mother taught him. Ask them to forgive him. They do. Mr. Nezir asks them if there's any way he can make it up to them. Shaq answers they could sing their song before starting to sing a song Stand Up before Rack, Shaq, and Benny also joined in as well. Singing about God wants us to stand up for what we believe in when we're faced with the peer pressure of doing things that we're not supposed to do. Everyone in the factory then sings a song before the story comes to an end as George then smiles at the viewers. Now for the countertop outro. Oh my throat is dry. Back to the countertop, Bob states that he still hasn't been able to get Larry out of the sink before saying that it's time to talk about what they learned today. And then sings a song. What they learned. Larry then starts singing what we learned song, while Bob tells him to stop singing. Larry still sings, but Bob is able to cut him off by turning on the faucet that unleashes cold water to the sink and turning it off. Bob reveals the lesson that they have learned from the story. Larry then admits that he made a mistake of putting an oven mitt over his head before laming it, that he will never get out of the sink and be stuck in it for the rest of his life. Fortunately, Bob comes up with an idea by having Larry stand on one end of the spoon, then Bob jumps onto the other end, and Bob jumps onto the spoon, which causes Larry to get flung out of the sink. Unfortunately, so Bob is the one stuck. Larry ignores Bob's pleas to get him out of the sink, and whatever quote he has. QWERTY then brings up the verse, which is stand firm and hold to the teachings passed on to you. 2 Thessalonians 2:15. At first, Larry is having trouble pronouncing Thessalonians, while Bob tells him and corrects the pronunciation. And then when Larry said it correctly, after that, Larry then explains that it means that someone to do wants you to do something you know it's wrong. You should stand firm and do what's right before telling Dexter that next time he goes to Billy's house, he should bring one of his favorite videos to watch instead. Bob then agrees before saying saying that he would like to get out of the sink, but Larry calms him down before signing off, ending the episode. And that is all for today. I hope you got something out of this. And I just realized it's 23 minutes long, this video. Sorry. But I hope you got something out of this and you watched the video to the end. You're going to be seeing some words in 3, 2, 1.